fault.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Or not. Yeah, just yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I've been revisiting, well, I've only read the first one in the past, but the Jed McKenna books, or listening to them.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah,
now
yeah.
I'm now on Warfare, and they they really are amazing. I hadn't, I just an AI couldn't write that. I don't think.
No, I don't
I
think so
mean,
either. Well, it
it's
was
just
before AI he wrote that anyway, eh?
yeah,
Before AI got
exactly,
going.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just so I don't know accessible. I guess it depends on the listener. I mean, some people think it was a bunch of shit, but
Yeah.
or too down to earth, or they find something, but I find it just fits.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
see, I read a
yeah.
lot of stuff and I listened to that one multiple times at the audio books before I woke up.
Yes, yeah. I remember you saying,
So
yeah,
what I recognize is that after waking up, things are really different. You take totally different things out of it, than
yeah,
what you do when
yeah,
you're a seeker and you're looking for ways to wake up from that. You're looking at it in a different way than when you wake up, when you're awake, you're looking at it. I suppose you're looking for what resonates.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
most of it does. I mean, there's a bit where he goes into manifesting, but I kind of get where he's coming from. It's from a different level. He's not really talking about manifesting in the new age way, and he kind of stresses that. It's
Mm.
just basically being in the flow and the
Yeah.
universe dealing with it all in a
Yeah.
nutshell. Yeah,
Yeah, I
maybe
don't know.
having.
I did start to re-listen to it on YouTube, um,
Mm,
but I didn't get very far. But I was enjoying it. But
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
can tend to get diverted a bit easily these days. Yeah.
yeah. I do. Yeah. So the other thing, talking of diversion, I suppose there's a kind of link, is that I haven't felt I mean, this has been going on for a long time, but it used to bother me. I haven't been motivated to do anything much. I mean, I was recording those recordings of the stories. That was okay, but I completely ambivalent about that now. I mean, if it arises on a particular day to do one, I'll do it. I
Mm.
don't feel I mean, I don't even know if anyone's listened to them. And it kind of, what used to happen was that, like, this is an example, like, a member of the family, usually one of the kids, would say, "Oh, what are you doing today, Dad?" And, and I'd half jokingly say nothing, but I wasn't really, or they'd say, what are your plans for today? Got anything on? I'd say, um, I'd stall because part of me would be tempted to make some sort of reply that would indicate that I was going to do something, or rather, actually, that I knew what I was
Yes.
going to be doing, or quotes should be doing.
Yeah. 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 Had
Um,
plans.
it had, yeah, and it had a contraction there.
Mm.
That's the thing, and that happened once in the last few days. And then the end, I said, "I really don't know, Ed. I don't know." You went, "Oh, right, but great." And the answer was cool or great.
Mm.
Whether that was just an okay whatever
Who
or
knows? Yeah. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
but so yeah, I mean, I mean stuff happens. I'll be looking into AI music in a deeper way so that I don't just want to churn out songs about how the prompts can get extremely detailed. I mean,
Mm.
but then I thought about left and right brain activity. A lot of it doing that is left brain until you get the result. And when you do music in the so-called orthodox or other ways, for me, I would say it's a whole brain activity. So neither is better or
Mm.
correct. They're just very different approaches. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
um, I've on occasions got AO to write me a story about something. Depends on, like usually something comes out of the group, something that
yeah, yeah,
sits in my mind. I'll get it to write a story about that, and what I might do is take a whole paragraph or two out of the um, the transcripts and feed it to it and say, write me a story about that, and then modify it a little bit. And then when
yeah,
I've got it as a story, I might then feed the whole story back into it and say, write me some song lyrics about this. Uh,
yeah, yeah,
and then I'll take it to Sunos and well, at the moment I've been playing with, I suppose you'd say, well, styles. They call it styles, but genres or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah,
And there's a whole lot of there that I've never heard of before. That let's have a look at this one. Um,
yeah.
Wessola. I've just discovered Wessola.
Wow.
Why? And I never heard of it before.
No, it's mind
But
blowing. Yeah,
it's excellent. It's really excellent. And I'm just discovering that. I mean, because I paid for this month, I've got 2,400 points, so I'm quite happy to feed the same lyrics back to it 4 or 5 times to
yeah,
find, in different styles, just to see what it sounds like. What's a big thing for me is, can I understand the words as they're being sung? Right? And that's always been
yeah.
a difficulty for me by my nature. As a kid, I listening to music, other than the chorus line, I probably couldn't tell you any of the words in a song because I heard all of the words as the music. So I heard somebody
Right.
singing
Okay.
and I
Yeah, yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
listening to the words or cogitating on the words. I was just hearing the sound. Uh,
yeah, yeah,
so now I've got, because I want to hear the words as well as feed the lyrics to the people so they can read it as they're listening if they have trouble hearing. Because
yeah,
sometimes they say things blah, 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 really quick, and you don't, and I would have trouble working out what the words are if I didn't have the lyrics there. But yeah,
yeah.
but I'm looking at this Wessola has been is for the one I'm doing at the moment is great. Yeah,
How do you spell that?
Wesola.
Okay, I might experiment today
Can you
with that.
let's see if you can you hear this. I'll play it.
Let's see.
Can you hear that?
No, I can't. I can't hear anything other than other than you
Okay.
speaking. No,
Yeah, it's probably not. It's coming out of the speak. Well, it's coming out in here. Okay. Let me just turn
no.
these off and see what happens. If I do that. Okay. Now let me try it, and it'll come out of the speakers, so it might feed around. See what happens. Can you hear that?
Yeah, yeah,
Walk before the sunrise, heat blooming in my chest, the kind of pain that used to send my mind into a mess. The flare was just a flare this time, not a prophecy or blame, just sensation and moving in the light, with no story tied to my name. Awake don't mean I'm dead. Awake don't mean no pain. Just means the fight inside me doesn't have to start again. My body's still imperfect, but I let the fear subside. When the stops interfering, I can feel the bodies on my side. I used to make it personal, like I'd somehow failed the test. Googling for answers. Patty? Shame to it.
yeah. So far it's a cappella. That's part of it. A style, is it?
I got a few things happening here. Somebody's just rang me.
All
Hi.
right. Okay.
Right, now we're back. Somebody's taken over. Yep,
Oh,
good.
okay.
Yeah, a cappella
Hmm.
is what you call that. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. What's your username on there? Because it's probably easier if I just follow you if you
My
want.
username where?
On Suno.
Oh, I have no idea. Let me have a look.
That's all right. Don't worry.
It,
I,
it, it,
I'll tell you mine. You can.
it, yeah, I've been to yours, but I don't remember what it was. But I've got it in an email there, I think. Yeah,
I think it's Omnicaritus. Mine. I think
right.
Omnicaritus. Yeah.
Yeah, so mine's just
Yeah.
Vince Schubert.
All right. Okay. I'll have a look. Yeah. Yeah. You can really fine tune these things. It just takes a lot of not study, but it will. I can see the real value, but it will take. It's me being patient with it, not just wanting to knock out a song or something. It's like really getting it down. But yeah,
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 playing with the lyrics is a thing too. So I find it's a bit disturbing in a way because I find that a lot of the time I don't need to do any alterations at all.
yeah. It's
But
weird.
occasionally it'll put in
You,
stuff.
yeah, with the you mentioned something about the occasional word sounding a bit janky or whatever. You, there are ways I read yesterday where you can specifically say, give it uh, clearer articulation. There's a phrase they use as a prompt. So I looked that up. The Discord community is amazingly helpful. And this was the other thing
Yeah,
about the
hang on,
the
hang on,
kind.
Tim. Yeah, hang on. Hi, Velda. Look, we're having a problem here. It keeps the bloody car keeps picking up on um, the Bluetooth. I'll turn the bloody Bluetooth off, and it's still doing it. Presumably, you're ringing Jenny, are you? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. All right. Look, let me go and get her to call you. That might be the way to do it. Okay, I'm in the middle of a meeting here. I won't be. I won't be. What? Just give me a second, will you? Okay. Thanks. Won't be a second, Tim.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, for Christ's sake! I know. It's done it again. I don't know how to get around this. Um, I've turned the Bluetooth off. Every time Jenny rings, the car grabs it. Right. God, what can I do?
Bluetooth, yeah, Bluetooth can be a
I
pain. You
put,
have to
yeah, I
disconnect
put
a
the Bluetooth off.
previous user. We found, if someone's using Bluetooth speaker and they haven't disengaged, it locks it out, locks you out. I've found,
Hmm.
which is stupid, really. But anyway,
Try again, Jenny. I removed her phone altogether from it.
that's probably a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's someone else here now.
yeah, David. Hmm.
Hmm.
Oh, sorry about that. Sort of muck around.
All right.
I don't know how it was doing it when I turned off the Bluetooth, so the car shouldn't pick up the phone at all, but it was still doing it for some reason. Mm,
It's mad stuff. Yeah.
yeah. So you haven't met David, have you?
No, I haven't. No.
Mm.
Hi, David.
No, he's not there. Yes,
Okay.
he is. He
Hello,
is. Hello, David.
hello,
Uh,
hello, Tim. Hello, Vince. Long time.
Hi, nice to see you.
yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I have at some early calls. Are you French, David? Or yes? No.
Yes. Well, from
Yes.
Switzerland, but yes.
Oh, right. French speaking Switzerland. Okay. Yeah, I listened to you on some early Vince calls, and I think you just moved somewhere, maybe Thailand or somewhere, or you were not moved, but you were en route somewhere,
Yeah, I was
and it
I
was
was
really deep
traveling.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
traveling in Thailand,
Aha. Yeah. A few years
and
ago.
now
Yeah. Yeah.
I am in Spain now, south of Spain.
Oh, nice. I was enjoying what you had to say back then. It was really deep stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Mm.
So how have you been, David?
Um, Very busy with moving around the world and installing and getting settled here in Spain. And with my personal projects. Also, I was very busy with this.
Hmm. Still doing
And I
some,
had, sorry?
still doing some groups?
Yeah. I started doing groups and opening myself to the teaching aspect, to the holding space aspect. And it's very interesting. It's a very different place to be and to explore. And there's a lot to learn there also.
Mm.
And that's very interesting how to me this process it's always unfolding. It's like there's always new layers of to discover, to undo, to see that yeah, it's like it's very surprising. And until now, I haven't time to come into this meeting, which I really enjoy with present Vince and this group.
Mm.
But yeah, this week, well, something strange happened to me yesterday. I was very surprised. So I wanted to share with someone, and it just this group just pop up. I remember that there was a group on Wednesday. It was very good
Mm.
timing. And yesterday I was watching some non-dual teachers speaking, and suddenly he says his way of affirming so strongly and so definitively that there is no self triggers something in me somehow. Like something just trigger like and then I was catch up in a huge wave of doubt, you know, because he was describing his experience, how it went for him, you know. And suddenly I was catch up in a huge wave of doubt. And I stay with it, and then there was sadness with it. And after this, after the sadness, I went for a walk in the beach. I watched the sunset. And then a very old feeling, I know a known feeling of disconnection, of loneliness, of abandonment, very old was present. And then there was sadness again. And now, I don't know really. Now I'm like, I think I feel in between. I feel that what I'm holding and what I'm teaching is true. To me, it's true. I mean, that's my own conclusion. But the fact that I don't feel like absolutely true, I'm wondering if there is some, 'cause, 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 yeah, I'm curious about how deep this can go. And
Yeah.
and maybe the fact of holding space and doing works with, the website and all of the logistic aspect of holding space for people kind of took me time away of maybe direct engagement with it.
Mm,
So yeah, I am in that space that I want to be authentic with what I do,
yes.
and at the same time, I know that what I that what you share, Vincent, this message is true, and I still have, the human spectrum in me. I still have the emotions. I still have thoughts. I still have everything. So yeah, very curious place.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
very curious place I am. So I wanted to, like, this was here. So I'm going to see if what's going on here and if I can express this.
Yeah, that's good. Good stuff. Yeah. See, before you were awake before. You already saw there was no self before. And when you were running groups, you were obviously clearly you were awake. But right now, your face is really different. And the sound of your voice is different. Even though it's been a long time, in my memory, your face is innocent and your voice is soft compared to the way it was before. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Probably. Yeah.
So I love that you see and that you express that you see that this is ongoing. You
Yeah,
discuss
it's an
deeper
ongoing,
level. Yeah.
it's an ongoing process. I think the one of the aspect of my personality is arrogance.
I could have
That's
used that word from before,
yeah, yeah,
but I would say it was my perception. I don't know about how you felt. So arrogance, I would think, would have a certain feeling of superiority or something. Now you may have come across that way, but I would never have assumed that that's anything more than my perception. But
yeah.
there's none of that present at the moment. That's really different.
Yeah, because the what I like about teaching, it confront me with this position of holding the space of like holding the space. You have to lead the way. At the same time, um, I am not superior to anyone in any aspect.
Yes, you probably would have said that before too.
Yeah.
But as I said, it was
Y-
my perception. But that's yeah, it's like you're a different person.
Yeah, I wonder, sometimes I'm talking about this with very few people, but when they listen to me, they always listen the same stuff. Like it's like it seemed like the same speech. Like you say, maybe what I'm saying now is very similar to what I'm saying a year or 5 years ago, or when I wrote 20 years ago. But the inner experience, the direct engagement with experience, the quality of experience is completely different. It is really something else.
Mm.
So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be no more than interest, but it might be interesting for you to look at some of the early videos and listen to yourself and see. It would be an interesting to see how you feel about yourself. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that can be interesting. It can be interesting.
I'm blown away by how different you are.
Oh,
Again,
really?
again, it's just my perception, but yeah, yeah, you could easily be a different person altogether
Mm.
than before. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the point of the process, right? It's like the person is not there, but is still up here. But to me, what I'm the impression it become way more flexible and
Yes.
more flexible, and it adapt and it change the environment, and the environment change with it,
Yeah.
and that's somehow the freedom, the freedom. Like I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be one way or another.
Yep. So what does the doubt rest on? That doubt that you're experiencing now, what's that about?
It has different layers. I think the first one is my mind is very open. I mean that when I speak with someone, I completely agree with him. I have the capacity of absorbing the point of view of anyone. I mean, if someone tell me that non-duality is bullshit, I would say I completely agree with it. It's nonsense. It's useless.
Yeah,
I
of
agree
course.
with you. And someone who say no, there is no self, I would say I completely agree with you. There's no need of therapy, nothing. There is no. And someone who say no, therapy is very important, I would say I agree with everyone.
Mm,
I agree with everyone and everything. I'm completely, I understand every point of view whatsoever.
mm.
Completely agree with it. So it comes from this that when someone has the capacity or the way of expressing in a very articulate and absolutist way of speaking, it it disturbed me. Like oh, there is something in me that that the mind who want to reach to some conclusion. So I have to I have to build a model clear enough and strong enough to expose it. I have to be articulate. This is, I think, the first layer is this uh, yeah, that to perceive my mind is completely open and it changed completely.
Yeah,
I can be convinced of something today and tomorrow there's something else completely.
cool.
And
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
just perceiving this.
It makes sense. I resonate with what you say, you know.
Yeah.
We recognize that no matter who, we're just looking at their perspective, whatever they're saying. But like you, if they're saying it really strongly, definitely, whatever, it's not so much the words, but what's behind the words, that forcefulness that says there's no room for anything other than this. That disturbs me.
Mm. Well, I think what has struck me was that I had some experience of light and other things that I don't really pay attention to it, but I have some few that were very striking. But I don't build a whole story around it. So now my question is, do I am fooling, do my curiosity is when I hear there is no one here that is perceiving nothing, or that there is no distance and things like this. I mean, at a level I completely understand. And of course, there is no distance in my experience. Of course, there is no one here. At the same time, they present it in a way that I'm wondering, do I am do I'm halfway, how, and if so, what is how to go deeper, you know? Or to be is not deeper, it's more sensitive, you know.
Yeah, yeah. What comes to mind here is that how to go deeper is not not a legitimate question.
Mm.
You will go deeper when you're ready. Simple. What's required for deepening is really unknowable, but it will present itself as you are open to it. So there's not an answer to the question, how do I go deeper? You'll go deeper when you go deeper, and you won't if you don't. But you will,
Mm.
because once you get to a certain point, there's nothing left to do but go deeper. Kind
Yeah, that's yeah, I can recognize this. This is true. There is no way back. But yeah, thank you, Vince. It really resonate with me what you say because when I was in the beach walking, uh, after this huge wave of sadness, of crying, which surprised me because it hadn't happened for me for like five or 6 years
of.
to just feel like a very like a very intense sadness.
Yep.
So I was walking on the beach and I saw my mind, maybe if I go to this teacher, maybe if I do. And somehow very deep within me, there was what you just share right now. There was this, no one will do the work for me. No one will be with the experience right now as it is. And that's the only process. And no one knows how to do it, and no one knows what happened when you do it. It's just this faith of this is it. This is rock bottom in a way of practices. There is no there is no other than be with what is here as best as you can. And yeah, thank you, Vince. It reassured me that it makes sense
Yeah.
to someone
And
else.
and that sadness that you experienced and the crying, etc. I wouldn't ever presume for a moment that it's the same as previously. It might seem similar, but stuff will the potential for stuff will be in us until it's not, until it gets activated, triggered, and gets expressed, and then maybe it's gone, or maybe partially gone, or who knows what. But essentially, we're we carry all sorts of stuff with us, and we're never going to get completely free of everything. But stuff can be triggered. Okay, then we have it to look at, to experience, or it doesn't get triggered. We don't even know it's there if it doesn't get triggered. It's just whatever. It's like there's absolutely nothing to do. We do not. No, we don't need to. We're not going to go deeper because we see this stuff. It might open things up for us. It might open opportunities for us, but deeper is about now, here, not about the past and what's in us or not in us. So stuff that's in us we can imagine might stop us from going deeper, but at a certain level, my experience, or at least my story around my experience, is that at a certain level, it doesn't matter. It makes no difference if there's stuff there or not stuff there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was in the thick of it, and I saw the mind trying to resolve, I saw the mind trying to make sense, I saw the mind trying to give a reason, a cause, an effect, a future, maybe you will have to do this because of this.
Stories about
And
what
deep down, that's the first time that deep down I was, okay, I can see this layer of thought. And I'm not fighting it. It's of course thought is doing his thing, not of resolving. And I was, it's just, it's a strong emotion. And it's it's still the fact of what I am is still the same. The fact of what I am is still the same. So there was some kind of, I want to say faith, but faith implies some kind of belief. I know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's this strong
Well,
sense of everything is okay. And when I woke up and I talk to my partner, I feel horrible. I feel my life. It's how this relationship, everything is just gray and horrible. And and that's it. As I feel horrible now. and,
yep.
and what and nothing and just I will see if there is a group if Vince and then there was once I'll just come and that's it. I will stay with it. And I think this is what I recommend. That's why I think it's happened to me very strongly. Because that's it's feel horrible. Like I feel horrible. And like you say, Vince, it's like, yeah, so what? So
Mm.
this is it. This is still it.
And when you don't fight it, when you accept it, it changes. Most of the horribleness is to do with resistance.
Mm.
So you can imagine that you wake up feeling horrible, something is being triggered, but it's our avoidance of that that brings about the horribleness.
Yeah, this time because like last time it happened, like it, I mean, this time what was beautiful is because now I am a father, so there is something happened to me that I'm holding space for my child every day because we live together. I work from home, so we are always together. I mean,
Mm.
and there is something of this quality of holding the sadness as if it was like a baby within, like
Yes.
from a higher place. And it's hard to describe without sounding
No, I
like
understand. Yeah,
but it's yeah, it's a deep, soothing, like it's fine,
yeah.
and it's very loving and
It's gentle and
of course,
funny. Yes.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, everything feel horrible, but you are fine, you are fine, you are fine.
Yeah,
And it was beautiful. It still is like beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful energy.
And not what you said earlier that really resonates for me. That's absolutely beautiful. Is that flexibility, that totally not non-rigid, non-holding on, that you can agree with everybody's perspective because it's their perspective, and so there's nothing for you to anchor yourself to. You're just you're just you're like the breeze.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I think this is something. This is what I was talking about, holding this place of holding space of teaching. I guess for you can share maybe after, but there is a challenge in it, when there is because of the position, because of the place. And what I'm perceiving is every point of view is real for the one which is having it,
mm,
you know.
absolutely. Yeah,
So yeah, it's everything is real from your perspective. From my perspective, everything is seem real.
yeah,
It's an accurate, yeah. So it makes things very interesting when I hear or I feel that someone come with an issue and they say, "This is my issue, this is my problem," and I say, "Yeah, of course, here it is. What do you want me to do? You know, I have defined the problem. And I saw last night that it was exactly the same. The mind defined the sadness, defined the situation, the emotion, the texture of, of the of my sensation as a problem. And I assure you, if I start to speak about my problem, there is no way out of it. You will never convince the mind that the problem is not that way, because
Mm.
that's how it perceives it. So that's
Yeah.
now I see, like I don't speak about it, because if I speak, it will make sense, obviously, to you, to everyone. But the point is, it's inaccurate. And I think this is where there is a huge paradigm shift of completely let go of the mind,
Mm.
of the interpretative framework of the mind, maybe something.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And I feel a lot of gratitude for you, Vince, to hold this space for everyone, and including me.
Yeah. Again, that's your perspective. From my perspective, there is no holding space. There is. I don't know. From my perspective, the most accurately I could describe is
Yeah.
I just respond with whatever turns up. So if somebody says something, then it triggers something in my mind, and I just out comes that from my mind through my mouth, and that's all I do. You can
Mm.
describe what I do however you like. But that's your perspective. But yes, yeah. So I hear you. I enjoy the gratitude. I enjoy the feeling that comes from what you say. But I don't do anything. I can't really take any credit. But I like that you feel good about it.
Mm.
Mm. I mean, there's many ways of many stories I could add to it. One is that I I I don't try. I'll say the words. I try to be authentic, but I don't try. It just happens, and that seems to be have some effect. I don't know why or how, but it does. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. How are you, Ryan?
Hey Vince,
Mm.
I'm doing pretty good. So it's about 2 a.m. right now in Texas. And it's funny, whenever I first heard about your meetings, I added all of them to my Google Calendar just as recurring meetings. And it's kind of silly for me to have this one on my calendar, but I have a new daughter. She's 5 months old now. And I was like, you know what? I could see, one night I'm just awake, with her. And so that's what's happening right now. She's here in front of me on her play mat. She's just not ready to sleep right now. So I'm
Good
just
on her.
here.
Yeah. So she brought you to the meeting. Excellent.
Yes, she did. Yeah, I just happened to pick up my phone. I was like, oh yeah, there's that on my calendar. Might as well join.
Good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I recognise this is not a good time for the Americas, but yeah.
It's good for me right now.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Mm. Hello, Tammy.
Hello.
Hmm. What's the latest for you? Just for the last 24 hours.
Um, I would say more of the same. Noticing and collapsing. um, when I'm getting lost.
So how, when you say you're noticing when you get lost, is that happening quickly?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. What about when you notice, does it change?
Yeah. In other words, it will usually stop a full blown, but not necessarily stop everything. There can still be
Yeah.
tension for a while, but I usually won't spiral off as much. And sometimes it just collapses it outright.
Excellent. Hmm. Have you have you had have you been I don't know how to put this. Have you been visited by a story about what's brought about that change?
Um, I'm hoping that it's, yeah, I mean, there are stories, but the two, you know, main ones that I is that it's just, the regular ups and downs, and that, the other stuff will, like, it's just temporary. And the other thought is hopefully it's a result of everything I've been exposed to, and that the that it'll keep building on itself.
Hmm.
Um, that it kind of seems necessary to keep exposing myself to the new ways
Hmm.
of looking at things.
Yeah. So can you get that when that when that happens, it's not it's not that that stuff that you're exposed to has a physical effect on you, but it's that something has happened internally for you as a result of that. So what I'm saying is we don't need to, or we can't actually give any credit to anything other than your interpretation of what you've been exposed to. It's all in you, is what I'm saying.
Mm, is it just semantics though? Because we can say, well, it's all in you. But let's say until someone is exposed to a certain person, they don't feel love, or until someone is not exposed to new ideas, it's not, in other words, it still sometimes takes an outside thing to bring about that internal state. And so it
Yeah,
might be in me, but if it doesn't happen until something else happens
yeah,
outside, then
because yeah, yeah. So how much weight are you giving the stories that this could be temporary and that you might revert to significantly more suffering?
um It just seems to be that I need still external inputs to remind me to bring me back to sanity. In other words, um, that still when things arise, it seems to be an effect of having been exposed to people and ideas that has like an effect and it wears off. That's what I would
Yeah.
feel.
So let's say the idea of it, or the concept of it wearing off, if we were to reframe that to what I would say is more accurate or more actual, it's not like that wears off as much as it's like some of the old habits reassert themselves to a degree or to a big degree or to a little degree, whatever. But it's really old habits that give you that bring about that concept of it wearing off. Would you say that's the case?
Yeah, the defaults just start doing their thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really interesting the way that stuff works. Yeah. Um, yeah, I had an experience after I had my hand operated on. I had a year off from golf, and when I went back to golf, the first couple of games I played were the best games I've ever played, and then the old habits started coming back. So
Mm.
the ball didn't go straight anymore because it went the way it used to go. So those old habits can just lie dormant, and then back they can come. Yeah. So it really is a case of recognizing that. So if it's the difference in the reframe is that it's not like it wears off and it needs to be renewed as much as it just needs to be reminded that there's a new way until that new way becomes the habit.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm. It's also interesting that when we lose old habits, there can be some grief, some mourning, some sadness, loss of familiarity, even if that what we were familiar with was unpleasant, that it's not there anymore can engender feelings of loss or something. But I'm not meaning I don't want to predict something like that. I'm just suggesting that if you do experience that, that may well be there's something you could question.
Yeah, I would say there's times of confusion or of a sense of loss because the the habits had some kind of value
Yeah,
in their own way. And so, um, yeah, it's a bit confusing. What of them is valuable and what isn't, um, and of letting go of some of the
yeah,
intensity can be confusing. And yeah,
yeah. So everything has its pros and cons, you know. So everything is both good and bad, or up and down at the same time. So, for example, you know, the chaotic feeling that you were familiar with can also give you a feeling of being in control. And when that's no longer the default operating mode, it can feel like you don't have such control. And that can be a negative, even though there's less suffering around it as well. So the things are nothing's black or white. Everything's grayscales, if you know what I mean.
in terms of like benefit, or what do you mean?
Yeah, so everything that has benefits also has, Everything,
Yeah.
all the pros and cons are there for
Yeah.
everything. You know, nothing is all one or all the other. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So what we find is that as we start to recognize that self is a concept of the mind, once we start to see that as having no solidarity, we're also confronted with the idea that we no longer have choice or control and that decisions just happen, etc. All of these things are all predicated on, all rest on one illusion. And when that illusion falls, a whole lot of other things go. But it's never 100% straight away. Oh, it can be, but in most cases it's probably not. It's a bit of a gradual process, a discovery. And so once we might discover that we might move in the direction of, say, no self, but all of a sudden when we feel that we don't have control, rather than celebrate the fact that we are free, we might feel bad about that one. And so that will kind of bring us back, will bring back into focus this illusion of a self running the show. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
intertwined. Sorry.
no, go on.
No, that's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, for me, it's more sense of responsibility that I feel tremendous like guilt, shame, and responsibility around a lot of things. And letting go of that is a little bit weird, and I'm still like testing it out. But let's say last night, I wasn't feeling well and I couldn't really move. And I was telling myself, go eat dinner, get into bed. And the body wasn't moving. And after about an hour and a half of scrolling on my phone and lying down, I finally got up and I'm like, finally I got up. And then I'm like, nope, calling it after the fact. It just got up and moved now. And, so I was like, okay. Um, and just less screaming at myself for everything that happens. So
Yeah. Yeah.
either way, that's a good thing, but it also feels like maybe I should be trying harder. But yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's a tricky one, that responsibility thing. You see, to say that we don't have control does not mean that we're out of control. To say that we don't have a sense of that we don't have any actual responsibility doesn't mean that we're irresponsible. The opposites are not what's left when those things go. It's that they no longer become an issue is the real thing. So it's a tricky one like that. And so although you don't have any actual responsibility, you're very likely for quite some time still going to feel a sense of responsibility. But then when you look at it, when you analyze it a little bit, you realize that it's not that I will do something because I should do it, but rather I'll do something because it's appropriate. So the same kind of behavior can occur, but instead of it coming from a sense of responsibility, it'll come from a recognition of consequences. Do you follow? It's just a slight reframing in whatever, but it's a huge shift in the motivation.
But that sounds like it refers more to, making food and going to work. What about,
Yeah.
creating things or having ideas beyond just the necessity? And I
Yeah.
guess either that'll arise or not, but
Well, part of the way I see it and my experience is that what we call creativity, which is also a concept, but the concept of creativity, that, that we're all creative as humans. We're almost compelled to be creative. It's our nature. And expression is a huge thing. Expression and when we express creativity, oh, that feels fantastic. That's a wonderful feeling. Just I'm really thinking of these stories and these songs that I'm just provoking AI to do. But boy, I feel really creative with them, and it's great. I love that feeling. Sometimes the words that come out bring tears to my eyes, and it's tears of joy. It's just wonderful. I love it.
Mm.
And without any effort whatsoever, there is joy with helping. There is joy with good stuff, and there's sadness with other stuff. So it's like there's by nature, whether it's because I've been conditioned or not, I don't know, and I really don't care. But there's great joy in helping other people. There's great joy in doing the right thing. It's not because it's my responsibility. That's just a story about it.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah, I hear.
Mm.
It's good.
Integration is that I
Can I
that I
jump in?
relate to you. Sorry.
Can I jump in? Yeah, for me, responsibility really changed when I had my son, and suddenly I felt responsible for this baby.
Mm.
And I struggled for months about this because I felt like it was too much, like there is so much like energy, money, time, everything goes in it. And at some point, I really could touch within me that I was happy to be responsible for this baby, independently of what people think, what society think, what the norm, what morality. I was just deep within me. I was happy to have this responsibility within me. So at some point, I realized that I choose to be responsible of this baby because I could have just left and who cares. So there is something in me that choose the responsibility and therefore nothing has changed from outside. I was just doing the same thing, but the way I think about it and the way I felt within was very different. And I think it's the same as what Vince was saying, but just differently expressed.
Mm. Nice.
Yeah.
And I think this is the choice. I don't choose to want to be the father I am. I don't choose to like this responsibility, which some others maybe don't want it. So that's where there is this paradox of choice, right? I choose to be responsible, but I don't choose to have the impulse to like that, to make this choice.
So if just to play around with this a little bit, David, if we were to say drop the story about choosing responsibility, if that wasn't there, would you still want to do what you do?
Yeah.
Of course you would.
I mean,
Yes.
yeah, that's why I'm choosing it, right? That's why I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, so choosing and responsibility is just a story that you put on top of what is actually there, which is the desire to do it.
Yeah. it's a story within that is complaining about um, things. But when you let go of it, you can really enjoy a lot of situation or you
Mm.
know or responsibility or charger or things that it is human life I have to do if without this story around it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I've this is pure freedom. You are free to be a horrible human being. You're really free to to go on the street and kill everyone. But you don't do it not because of the law or because of your neighbor, what other people will think about you. You don't do it because you don't have the impulse within
Mm.
you. So you are free to do everything, but you don't do it because you choose not to. Because the impulse is not there, the natural impulse is not there.
Mm.
And if we perceive it that way, we can really see that most of us, the impulse is very generous. It's very benevolent in many humans.
Yeah.
Natural impulse is to be helpful, all of the positive stuff. If without the story, we want, to collaborate with each other naturally.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I have a story that people who do what we call bad stuff are just a general thing. I would say they're sick in a way, mentally or however, that their conditioning has put them really out of balance, and that's why they do what we call bad stuff. By nature, when we don't we don't corrupt our natural inclination, we want to do good stuff.
Yeah, completely. But I think I feel that experience is a whole, it's one thing, and human societies it reflects this whole. And if someone is doing bad in our society, the entire society is the
Yes.
co it's the correlation of it. So an individual who do a bad action is not personally responsible for it, even though we probably have to control its behavior,
Yeah. Yeah.
probably. But it's not personal. It's not like you're a bad person. It's just your behavior need to be shut down. But we are all responsible for it
Yeah.
because we are one entity. We are one whole. So yeah, we are not personally responsible to be you know the personality the way it is.
So, Tammy, it's occurred to me a couple of times that you're at a point of integration now. So you've got the tools now, and we just need to, well, we'll just we'll just wait and experience, and things will change, and you'll plateau out somewhere, and then we'll go the next step. So it's just integrating.
Yeah, I think it feels like that. It feels like just repetition or putting into practice or keep seeing, because everything that arises is slightly unique and again realizing, oh, okay, there it is again, up, it's arising, collapsing it. I do think that, I don't know if I've seen everything there is to be seen. In other words, I'm not like I've had the deepest understanding and now I'm integrating it, but whatever I have seen and all the second arrow stuff, that's definitely, you know, is
Yeah.
often seen. Um,
Yeah. So, well, here's an interesting one. You kind of came a little late to this meeting, but David I knew from a couple of years ago was already awake, and he just recently experienced another shift. Things came up, and it happens. So there's it's constant layers, no end to it. Yeah.
I guess I feel like I'm still like on the human level evolving or maturing. I don't know if I've seen, some weird disembodied no self stuff, you know what I mean? So I'm doing at the level that I can at the layer that I'm at, which is, second arrow kind of stuff and questioning stuff, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not like,
Yeah, well, that we need to clear that stuff before you go to the next level, you know. But yeah, I don't know about this disembodied no self stuff, the spiritual stuff that you talk about. It might exist, but I don't know about it. Yeah, yeah, good.
yeah, I mean, it can be frustrating that it's not jumping deeper or faster. But I guess if you're saying it takes time, then I will take that too.
Yeah, I mean that's a really gross way to put it. That it takes time, but it takes experience, really, and experience seems to take time. But okay, yeah,
Hmm. In other words, it takes seeing it every time it arises again and again.
yeah. And at a certain point, a shift occurs where you suddenly realize. So do you get at this stage that what you took to be a self before is actually just a way of thinking about what occurs? That it's nothing more than stories you've got and responses to those stories.
Um, the second you said that, I'm like, yeah, of course. And then I'm like, wait, hold on, what? But but yeah, I guess somewhere that resonated, but it may take a while till I fully.
Yeah, so the trickiness with some of this stuff is that when you keep hearing that there's no self, we don't want you to simply adopt a new belief that there's no self. We want you to discover the truth of it for yourself.
Yeah.
And then we can play with the idea that knowing that there is no self doesn't necessarily mean, at least in the beginning, that there is no sense of a self under certain circumstances.
Hmm.
But when that sense of self arises, it's an opportunity to look if there's an actual self and seeing that the sense of self is dependent on logical assumptions, on stories that are just applied to the situation or to the experience that comes up.
Yeah, I think when you said that sentence a minute ago, immediately I just saw it as, oh yeah, that's just another story. In other words, it just collapsed just like any other thing. And then immediately I was like, wait, what? What? And then I
Yes.
was trying to
Yeah.
understand it, but I
Yeah.
could see it clearly because it's just another one of the collapsings that I've been doing. So it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. The whole thing is just patterns that are coming up and then like calling them mine and all that.
Yeah. And then that wait, but what? That wait, that comes up. That's just the old way wanting to reassert itself again, which is fine. I mean, we don't want to say don't do that or don't allow that to happen
Yeah.
or anything, because that's an opportunity for you to see that it's the old way and that it relies on stories to have any existence whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, that logic, oh, there must be because, you know, and as soon as you say because and those words, you realize that you're into this logic game.
Yeah, there's no way out of it. In other words, I can't convince myself of it. That's not the way out, but the collapsing seems to be something. So,
Yes, absolutely. That's it. And I love that word, collapsing. That is beliefs dissolving or disintegrating or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, it's just like about to go into the story, and then it's like, no, don't need to go there. It's that kind of feeling. But
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
all right, so nothing else, just keep seeing and collapsing
Yeah.
and not getting upset when it doesn't happen.
Well, if getting upset happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm. But if getting upset does happen, seeing that it's unnecessary, that's a good one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Except when I get scared that that means I'm not being responsible enough, and if I scream more, maybe things will happen. But yeah,
Yeah.
anyway.
So if I say to you now, the how and the why questions are totally unnecessary. Well, not um, useless,
Unhelpful.
unhelpful, useless. Yes, they just want to take you down rabbit holes of the mind, kind of thing. Right? And there's no actual answer to the how and the why. The complexity of being human means that we just don't know. We only have the slightest inclination, really, but we can't know. It's just too complicated. So the only question that's of value to you is what is actually being experienced at the moment, without judgment, just what. And if you can put words to that what, that's only a superficial level. So the what should take you to a wordless appreciation of experience. How do you respond to that one? What is your response to that?
um, yeah, I guess my response is at the beginning, I thought I had to go very deeply into experience to the point of like, that would take a lot of focus and get me out of my everyday. And also, the experience is not always so pleasant, to put it very mildly. But um, I think what I'm thinking or seeing or something lately is that sometimes there can be time and space to go deeply into it. And sometimes I just have to get on with life, and it's more about just not going into the stories about it. But it's not like I have to deeply go into sensation and explore it. It's not about that. In other words, at first I thought that's where the answer lies if I feel the nuance of it, but it's not really that. I still have to function sometimes and not lie down and sink into it. And sometimes the brain just can't focus or go into it, or sometimes it doesn't want to relax into or collapse into or dissolve or relax the contraction or whatever it is. But that's kind of I can keep functioning without deeply going into sensation, but just not going into second arrow stuff as much. I don't know if that made any sense, but
Yep, I get that. Yeah. Yeah. Essentially, the mind wants to overcomplicate things. It wants to make a big deal out of what's in fact straightforward often. Yeah. Yeah. So here's an interesting one, and I want you to really watch your response to this one. Um, at this point, how close are you to turning your camera on?
I think we all know the answer to this.
Oh, that's not an answer.
So
It
at this
kind of
point,
is,
how
I guess.
close am I?
Yeah.
Um, should I use my intuitive prophetic abilities? I don't,
Okay. So, uh, not close is the answer. So, do you get that the reason that you how could I put it, self-conscious, if that's accurate, enough to not want to turn your camera on is a reflection of how much belief you still have in the fact that there's a self there, that it matters.
or not.
Mm.
Maybe that's just part of my nature or the nature of this organism. Um,
It's a
a
protection, isn't
privacy
it?
or a quiet. Maybe it's a privacy, maybe it's a quietness, and maybe it's just a feeling of, I don't know, more comfort to not have to be on display. It gives me freedom to move around without disrupting. It gives me freedom to be walking or moving or, not have to look at the camera and put on wise, compassionate faces. In other words, to portray my admiration and appreciation. It's like enough that I have to do it with my voice. Like I can't also like focus and have my face portray everything I need it to. It's just a lot. Um, and it takes away my freedom of movement, and it just adds a whole layer of a lot of stuff. I don't know, I could tell a lot of stories, right? Each person can have their own story of why I'm not turning on my camera, and I myself can have a lot of stories, but look, until 100 years ago, I mean, when did they even invent electricity and all these things? It's not in human nature to like sit in your house and see people all over. I don't know, that's another one of my excuses. Evolution, it's just taking slower here. um it's I don't
Is,
know.
is this all rationalization?
um
You
yeah,
still
it's just
feel self-conscious about it. Okay, that's the bottom line, isn't it?
maybe, but maybe I just feel easier without it or freer to move around or just be.
Hmm. Okay. There's no pressure. Well, there's a little bit of pressure, but not
Yeah.
yeah. I'd love to know what you look like. I, I get a lot from people's faces.
Yeah,
Now,
definitely.
it's not that I judge. I don't think I judge, but I guess I do form opinions, but based on
Hmm.
appearances and so on. But
Yeah.
I don't put a lot of stock into those things. But I'm curious. I'm interested. I'm interested in everybody. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
definitely communicate something, and I don't want to have to also think about what I'm communicating in that way. So it's
Well, do you think I think about it?
about what?
How I look and what I'm communicating by my looks. I would have my camera turned off if I was concerned about that. Mm.
You've evolved beyond that. I'm not yet at that level. So
Okay. Okay. So do I hear a promise when you're at that level? We'll turn your camera on.
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. What will
Yeah.
Tammy do when she awakens? Will she open her camera? We have all no idea.
Mm.
Mm.
So at Liberation Unleashed, they really focus on helping people to recognise that there's no actual self running the show. That the self is just a concept. You know? And a lot of people will take that when they've seen that that's awakening. But it's really interesting to consider that from a Buddhist point of view, that's what they would call stream entry. Or from a feta point of view, that's the first feta, and there's 9 more after that.
Mm.
And so, same with stream entry, it's just the beginning. Or there's the other Buddhist thing about catching the bullock and riding the bullock, or something along those lines. Um, and they all of the Buddhist stuff talks about a progression. And so that first thing of recognizing that there's no self, that first feta, that can happen in a flash. Occasionally it does, or it creeps up on people, which is much more common. Um, but I would say you've definitely experienced stream entry. You know,
Really?
you're on the path for sure. Yeah. So let's not talk about awakened, fully awakened, whatever that is. I don't know what that is. That's just a concept. I don't know where I am on that path. But you've definitely taken that first step where your interest has actually moved into a change in behavior, a change in responding to circumstances. Does that make your draw drop?
Yeah, I'm speechless. I'm like, I'm nowhere near this dream. But
You are, yeah. Okay.
Vince will send you a diploma by email, paper diploma for you. So you can hold it, you can put it on your wall.
Yeah, I'll send you the diploma in the post. Yeah.
no, because I thought you meant by stream entry, seeing definitely that there is no person, there is no doer. And I'm like, I haven't seen that. So, but I guess maybe the tiny bits you mean.
Yeah.
mean.
Certainly, I see a heck of a change, or hear a heck of a change in your energy, way of being, Tammy.
Hmm. Thank you. I appreciate that.
He wasn't complimenting you. He was describing what he sees.
No, no, no. I know. I'm appreciating that he's sharing that with me
Yeah.
because he's a person from the side. So it means a lot for someone to see something and, because it's harder to see it from where you're at. So,
Absolutely. It's a lot easier for others to see it than for you to see it yourself sometimes. That is an interesting one. Yeah.
because I still feel a lot of the frantic stuff inside, but I do know what you're saying. So,
Mm.
Yeah, the level of intensity seems to have really settled. I mean, yeah, we have a tiny window into your existence, but that's how it
yeah.
seems.
Yeah, thanks. it still feels a lot of turbulence at times. So I'm like, what is he talking about? But no, I definitely know what you're saying. So
And it's new, you know. This has really only been over the last couple of weeks that shift has been taking place.
yeah. Yay. I'm so anxious for it to continue. I'm scared. Oh, what if I go back? But yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right. Thank you so much.
I think what is positive with those meetings is that it gives us the opportunity to have a reflection of a mirror from people around us. Because with this process, I have heard Tammy before, and it's true that your energy is completely different. But often when you are in the process, because you go deeper, you always feel more, and you don't perceive the change that the way you appear can appear the way others perceive you. So in a way, when your energy of I want to go deeper is this energy of always inquiry within, and often you don't have the reference frame to understand where you are and how deep you went or what's going on. So people around you can give you a very good mirror. So that's great.
Yep.
Yeah, it can be helpful.
And here in these meetings, people are not going to be polite and gratuitous. You know, you're getting honest feedback.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks so much to all of you, and thanks, Vince, for this space. And I just I really hope it continues and I don't revert. But yeah.
Oh, look, you you will revert, but it's not actually reversion. You know, what you will find is that old stuff will get triggered. You know, and the closer you are to the beginning, the more likely that is to happen. But the wonderful thing about that is that when old stuff does get triggered, you see it and you
Yeah.
clear a bit more. Every time you see it, you clear a bit more.
Yeah.
So the old idea that because something has turned up, it means, we're failing, we're going backwards. That's just rubbish, you know. It generally speaking is always stuff from a little bit deeper down coming up. It
Mm,
just appears to be the old stuff because of what it triggers. It triggers a response in us that is similar to a response we've had before, but it's not actually old stuff. It's just more stuff.
in other words, it all needs to be like felt and seen through or whatever. Like, oh, okay, collapsing that also.
Not yes and no, but not in that we don't get the idea that we're a container that has a certain amount of crap in there that we need to get rid of. Right? Essentially, there is no crap at all in there until it gets triggered. It's only there as potential, if it is a story that I use. It's only there as potential, and when it gets triggered, it becomes something actual. And that's the opportunity to see it for what it is, which is something that's been triggered, and it's unnecessary, and usually it's totally useless. Sometimes it's not, but essentially that's the way to clear it, just to recognize it for what it is, and it's just stuff from deeper down that's been triggered to come to the surface.
Mhm. So it's
Yeah,
a good thing. In
yeah,
other words, it'll bring more peace, essentially.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the way you say that, the tone of voice and everything means to I get it, that you recognize that it's not just repeating words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Cannot thank you enough.
We should stop doing that. You don't need to do that at all.
Mm.
I'm wondering what other people's take on that is. The idea that stuff just needs to be seen and felt, or something like that, versus kind of going after it or using structure and process to resolve, heal, clear stuff. Yeah, that's just a question. If anybody wants to give their view.
As someone who has barely entered the stream, and there's, contradicting views on that right now, but I would say that some of the things there's strong impulse to, yes, do something and discuss that with people and get opinions and do some somatic work, whatever it is. Sometimes that's what needs to be done with the energy, and sometimes not. Sometimes that just, is getting more into the head and making it worse. But there's some stuff that definitely needs to be discussed on the human level. Because there's so many ideas stuck in my head since childhood that I've been alone with those ideas. And I didn't even know I had weird ideas. Like, not weird, I shouldn't say put down things, but just like very childish notions that formed in certain circumstances that shape my whole view of the world. And I'm not even aware that other people see it differently, or that there's an easier way of seeing, or just it needs to be spoken and communicated. And like we're social beings. I don't know from whatever part of the mystery it arises, but yes, sometimes there's definitely necessity here. The way I still see things as a young tadpole, to communicate with others and definitely do stuff like that. And even some stuff here, is discussed on that kind of thing, and it's exceedingly helpful, especially if it's with people who have some understanding, because then it's held differently. But even on the human level, speaking to people sometimes, until it's seen that even that is just a frantic search to find answers from humans, and it's not going to work. In other words, however it works, it needs to burn itself out until it's seen that, like, it's needed a little bit. And more than that, it's like I feel a desperation to call this one or call that one, and it's just like that sinking feeling of like, oh yeah, that doesn't work, I wish it would work, but it doesn't work. And then as long as we still have this strong idea that that'll work, it needs to, you got to try it until you see that it's not bringing the satisfaction, and then it can fall deeper. I don't know if any of that made sense, but
Very, very, very good sense, Tammy. Thank you.
thanks.
So, Jed, you've got Anton, you've got David, you've got Tim, who are all well and truly shifted. So you can direct your question to one of them or all of them from their perspective and see what they come up with.
Yeah. Well, I suppose just to say a bit more about where I'm coming from. I mean, I'm very much in a phase of seeing my nervous system settle down and becoming less reactive and pretty much okay with how things are. And I see that a lot of the time I've got a kind of, I don't know, there's some energy of tension, energy of low level stuff like just a general bit of resentment or irritation or sadness, stuff kind of, it's low level background stuff. And it doesn't really bother me, but I can, and it's probably just dissipating on it slowly, but I could be fine like this for the rest of my life. It would be. So I don't know. There's just this question keeps coming up. Do I want to work on it somehow so that I can? I feel like there's a bit of, I know my life goes better. It seems to go better when I'm more open and a bit happier. I connect with people better and things go better. I don't know. It's not a really pressing question, but I think I just wanted to lay out where I'm at and how I'm how I'm thinking about it, and just see what people say.
If I really resonate with what you share about the question you ask, do I want to do something about it? And I think this is your experience and it is your process. And the way it will unfold, it's not up to you, but at the same time, it is unfolding within you. So it's really part of us. And I think the fact that you ask yourself this question, it's a proof of sensitivity that you don't want to force anything. And for me, my process, it's about learning to be gentle with ourselves and to be all encompassing at all level. And another way of saying this, we are trying to engage with our experience in a more harmonic way. And no one knows how to do it, Do you have to do in the 6-month therapy training in the Nicaragua or Guatemala? I don't know. You have to stay with this for years until maybe, and that's really up to you. And this is the trust in the process. The impulse that will arise within you is the good impulse.
Thanks, David. Yeah, makes sense. And as you're saying that, I feel kind of like, ooh, let's see. Maybe I've got a trip to Nicaragua on the horizon.
One of the things that's pretty alive for me is the recognition that I, I'm I'm feeling something, and I'm just aware of it. But 5 minutes later, it's different. It's something else. It's like nothing stays. Everything's always shifting to the point where whether I've got a headache or whether I'm feeling tired or whether I'm feeling bodily exhausted or whatever, I get up out of the chair and my body is stiff, and I take 2 steps and my body loosens up. It's kind of like that with everything, no matter what I'm feeling.
So you don't have anything that's kind of fairly consistent. Of course, things shift and go up and down and in and out, but there seem to be some things that are kind of repetitive or similar, very similar.
No. What I'm saying is that I'm kind of I get a little bit high on the fact that everything is constantly changing. And so no matter if you ask me to describe what I'm feeling now, I could kind of have a go at it, but by the time I've finished describing it, it's going to be different. So there's this recognition of this constant change that is It means that I never make I never have a judgment or an opinion about what's going on, because within minutes it's going to be different, very likely. That's alive for me. That's what I'm saying. That
Yeah,
yeah.
Jed, the one thing that stood out, sorry, from what you were saying for me was you said there's the background and sometimes to say resentment, and you may have mentioned another couple of things, but presumably you're not talking about a chronic sense of resentment or feeling resentment. Is it more like a spike? It's like an acute thing, or how long does it last? It's not a general malaise, is it?
I
Sorry, I'm
think
not.
it is.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, Malay's maybe a bit strong. It's like, I mean, how to quantify it, but it's yeah, like I'd say that I do a kind of peer-to-peer therapy, and we talk about chronics, um,
Okay.
and yeah, I kind of see it as like there's maybe in the language of Vince, there's this potential that's often triggered, but it sometimes it kind of shows up in different forms, and it kind of
Mm,
projects onto things in different things, but often with a particular emotional quality. Like if we're talking about resentment, I can resent people, or I can resent life, or resentment can happen at kind of, it's like almost like a lens through which I feel and experience, and it's not always there, but it's a thing
mm,
that feels like it's often, not always, just maybe just in the background, and comes up to be, perhaps I could say, the foreground, or it kind of fills out a bit more, you know.
Mm.
so if it's in the background, you, presumably you only really, I'm guessing, know about it when it comes to the foreground. Does that make sense?
Well,
I'm trying to
it's more
understand the quality that suddenly shows up as fill in the blank label. Do you see what I mean?
it's more obvious then, and I'd say that is a bit like
Right.
you say, like maybe a spike. But
Okay.
if I sometimes I can just notice that it's in the background, and I because I mean, and you know, because we have contrast, don't we? And some of the time I just feel quite chirpy and light
Mm-hmm.
and open, and
Mm,
interested in connecting, and then other times I feel just subtly a bit more closed, and a
mm.
bit of this tension that is maybe is a resentment thing.
What comes up for
Uh,
me is using my tinnitus as an example. I could say I have tinnitus, but I'm only ever aware of it when I talk about it, and then I'm not aware of it at all. But if you mention the word, I'll hear it. It's there. But if I'm not aware of it, is it not there for me, or is it only there in story for me? So if you say tinnitus and I'm aware of it, and then we go on talking about something else and I'm not thinking about it, and I'm not aware of it, and then you say tinnitus and I think of it again and it comes back. Now, saying it comes back is wrong. I become aware of it again. So I was aware of it, then I wasn't aware of it, then I am aware of it. Do we make a presumption that it's there constantly and I'm only aware of it from time to time? And if that is that presumption that it's there all the time, what I respond to? Or do I only respond to the fact that it's only there when I'm aware of it? Right. So this is the same thing with your background feeling of, let's say, resentment. You become aware of it, and then you're not aware of it, and then you become aware of it again. do you then make the presumption that it was always there and you respond to the story that it's always there? Or do you respond to the fact that you were aware of it, then you weren't aware of it, then you were aware of it?
Yeah, it's very nuanced, isn't it? It's very subtle. And in some ways, you know, that that resonates, that um, there's a degree of needing to, to a certain degree. I don't think I would say it's only there when I look for it. I think I can, when, like I can, if I if I start to pay attention, I can go, oh, that thing, I realize it's been there for a while. I think, I mean, I know it's only a memory then, but
That's okay.
and I
Okay, so the next thing that comes up is a question you could ask your intuition. Right? So there's a bit of subtlety in that says, is this something that it would be appropriate to find out what it's about and dissolve it, or a version of that. Right? So if you find that, let's say you're aware that you've got a feeling in your body and you look for why that feeling is there, and then you go, oh, that's that feeling of resentment again. I'm feeling resentful about. Doesn't even have to be specified, right? And then you forget about it because you get busy doing something, but later on you realize that the feeling has persisted, and that when you think about it, then up comes that thing of resentment again. I'd be inclined to say under those circumstances, your intuition would say, yeah, it's probably better if we find out what this is about and get rid of it.
yeah, and you know that has happened, and I have explored it, and I've got stories that seem to make sense about what it's about and all that. And I've done, you know, healing work on it, and it's quite
It
persistent.
hasn't gone away as a result of that.
It's not gone away now.
No. Okay.
I
Yeah,
was
I think.
yeah.
Go on, Tim.
I was thinking about what happens here when I was talking about the spike as like being triggered, and an example would be, and then seeing whether it's really necessary to get the full details of where it came from, because I don't think it always is. That may arise. So the other morning, having breakfast, our eldest son's just moved back in, so there's now four of us here. And he and I used to clash on and off, and we're not dissimilar in makeup in some ways. But anyway, he'd said something to me in a certain tone. That's all it was. It could have been an innocuous comment. It probably was. But it was this kind of tone that triggered a feeling in my solar plexus. And I thought, yeah, that's what used to happen between us. I don't know when it was. It probably happened on several occasions. So for about a minute, I was quiet, and I just felt myself contracting a bit more over that minute. And I just thought, I'm going to stick with this, and it doesn't matter. Then I thought, I wonder if he notices that my face has changed. I'm just looking at the table. I thought, that's what I'm doing. If he notices that, that's fine. And I'm going to embrace that thought of mine as well. So there's this whole package there. And then a sigh came, as it just did there at the after that, and it was gone. And I found more recently that these things, they don't linger. That in the past would have lingered for, however, it would have been much longer than a minute. It could have been the morning, or something. But And so I thought, is there a baseline for me? Is there some, I wouldn't say that I go around in this marvelous state of equanimity. I go around being aware or whatever, and just, and if something happens, that I think we've talked about this before, all of us, and Vince has mentioned it. It's the recognition, the noticing bit is the key. You know, it's, oh yes, and whether I think Vince has recommended laughing it off or whatever or similar. And so I do a kind of oh yeah, that. And usually it sort of just drops away because it does. You know, I haven't been faced with a major, like someone dropping dead or, you know, like the big stuff for some while. People have been sick and stuff. But sorry, I think I'm digressing a little bit now. I'm going slightly off focus. That's just my experience currently. Yeah.
Well, I'm hearing you say, Jed, that because you have worked on it and it's persisted, that you see it as something more than a transitory experience.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a, you know, it's, you know, I've got a story about it. Loads of childhood stuff, lots of different bits of, you know, different levels of trauma all piling in together, and you know, something like that.
Yeah. So all those stories, of course, if they haven't shifted it, well, they're not going to do it, are they? You know, so something else. There's a story there that you're not aware of. That's underneath those stories that you know about. That's triggering that a belief about something. And the way to get close to that is follow the juice. You know, the old one, follow the money. Well, here the money is your sensations, your feelings. Go into what it is you're feeling. When you feel that, forget about the label resentment, because that comes with a whole lot of stories itself. What are you feeling? Where are you feeling it? Right? Below the level of words, labels, get right into that, follow it down into the most subtle sensation that you can find, and watch it move and change without expectations. Right. So what it's like I've used this analogy before. You've got bird seed on your hand and you're wanting this bird to come and eat out of it. And the only way that's going to do it is if you're really quiet and gentle and inviting. Right? And it's the same kind of thing for any story that might turn up to explain or show you what's actually underneath it will only come by invitation if it feels safe. And so you have to be super, super careful to, you know, invite it and be patient and so on. And by following the sensations to the deepest level. And it may or may not happen, you know. Yeah. But, you know, doing that, things can change and you've got no idea what changed or how it happened or what was, you know, you've got no idea about the story. You don't need to know what the story is to know. Just knowing that there is something there, some belief, some idea about a self. It is going to be a connection to a self. It is identification where that thing is, you know. But we all have identification till we die, I reckon. So it's, you know, just a more gross one where it's causing pain. Yeah.
And I think there's a kind of layer on it of, oh, it's I've tried everything, you know, it's not going to work. And I think that, you know, it's good to notice
That
that before
insulates it
just,
for sure, yeah.
sorry.
Mm. That insulates it, that layer of story that it's not
Yeah,
going to work. Yeah.
definitely.
Mm. Because any idea of fixing it just makes it stronger. So really, we need to approach it with, if this bird doesn't come, that's okay too. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm remembering the processes that work for me. I guess it's just not been significant enough for me to
Yeah.
feel the impulse to
Yeah.
do
Yeah. It
anything.
can be a way of avoiding it too, like it's not big enough to do anything about. So, we don't, yeah. So it stays. Yeah. But if it comes up as a question, then yeah, maybe it's big enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everything was already said. I can only maybe add a short sentence that you are not the one that created that issue that you're speaking about, and you will not be the one that will resolve it. So you really can trust that it's already fine. And it, of course, will be fine because it's fine.
That triggered a question within me because I am aware of this seeking the belief underneath the reaction, like finding the roots of the belief, the roots of the assumption, and doing this kind of work on the thoughts, work on the belief systems. And my question to all of you is, when enough is enough? When is the like this, like this personality is that way, and whatever is, and whatever is not there is not there, and this is simply the unfoldment of life.
Well, I don't know how to really explain this, but somehow there is a knowledge inside, not on the level of thought, that there is a possibility to be free completely. Nothing but this, nothing. So it's like this is from one side, but from the other side, you are not the one to make yourself that free. And that freedom is already here, and it's just that the stuff that arising and feel as if it is not already that freedom, complete freedom, to see it as this as well and not do anything about it. And if practices will arise, they will arise. Like it's all included. It doesn't mean that you should not meditate or meditate, explore or not explore. Everything is included. So it's really unexplainable. It's like from one side, it obvious for me somehow it's complete. There is no identification, there is nothing but this. And from our side, stuff still can arise and feel as if it's not that complete. And it's just to see it as it is, already complete. And it seems like a process. It seems like, This is how I see.
Mm. Yeah, that's perfect. So we add a story to it to try and satisfy something, and that story that is a it's an explanation or a description or something. But what I hear you say, Anton, that I love it. It's and it resonates, and that is identification is a story, and that there is already no self and already no identification, except at a story level that we add to the whole thing. So recognizing what already exists is an instant. I want to say an instant fix, but it's not a fix because there was nothing ever wrong. But it's an instant way to go to. Of course, there's no identification. Of course, there's no self, right? But not as a logical thing, not bypassing, but a recognition of what is actual. Yeah.
Yeah, and it becomes the opposite of bypassing because you give all intensity to be even more intense. Like it's a permission to all emotions, to all sensations, to all thoughts to be as strong as they can be because I know it's free. So there is no need to avoid anything, and it can be really intense sometimes, and it's okay that
Yep.
it's intense. And still, avoidance can arise on a physical, energetic level because it's a habit of the energy flow,
Yeah.
the resistance, the avoidance. So you include this as well,
Yep.
and it's just no limits.
Yep.
It can be anything.
It can even include the delusion that we arrive at when we say it means something.
Yes, it's include real everything. And it's include even the one that says, "I know it, I understand it," but you see that it's ignorance
Yeah.
arising, but it's included. No one knows it, no one understands it
Mm.
because it's all there is.
Yep.
So, like for me right now, for example, I meditation today, this the eye that knows, the eyes that thinks it is enlightened or aware of stuff is arise, and you see it as a child, as
Yeah.
it's like, and and sometimes it's like it's in hell because it's the in the fire of seeing that it's not existent even, and it's intense, but it's okay. It's like it's all okay. And sometimes it's more gentle, and you can be even loving to it, but it's all included.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Can't be anything wrong. Not possible.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Anton. This makes a lot of sense. And it is connected to what Ged was saying about this. To me, my personal experience have a tone, there is always an emotional tone in my human experience, always. To me, the emotional texture is the human experience. I mean, there is no neutrality. it's kind of a tone, it's always present. And for years I was catch up in therapy, which is great. You need to heal, you need to heal, you need to heal. But at some point I could see the aggressivity in it, because you are really saying this is not good enough. There
Yeah.
is more, there is more. I need to heal, I need to heal. And now what I'm seeing, it's this space that you're sharing on, this space of, okay, that's it for now, and we'll see. This is how it is now. And to the mind, even especially mind, which is trained in therapy and a lot of things, it's insane. It's like, no, you have to do something. You have to engage. You have to think, to act, to feel, to orient, to do this. And to me, I'm still in process, but it's a huge change for my way of engaging with experience.
Mm.
And there is one acronym that I really like of fear. Like fear, it's false evidence appearing real. Like this is the mind, right? The mind's always it 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 hides direct experience with evidence, with distraction. Like you have to do something. At some point, the distraction is is like trying to heal. And for a mind like me, and I guess many others who are these modern times of therapy and inner healing, it's tricky to see. And that's why I ask this question, because I feel I'm still kind of in between, even if there is still both energy within me.
I love the concept of a thought being a brain fart.
Well, the only thing that I feel something in me, like I withdraw from what you say, because I don't like the idea to have enemies, to have things that I have to fight. I don't. There's something in me that I dislike this. Like if I approach thought like an enemy, like a fart, I don't know. I feel something in me that's not correct. I mean,
I
even
think there is. I'm sorry. Finish and then I will
no,
respond.
I want to listen to you.
I f- there is a beautiful approach in Dzogchen, maybe in Zen as well. They call the mind is the fat and the real self. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's just that when it is in a relaxed state, it's like space. It's like nothing at all. And then it becomes a fat. But it's always that space. It's always empty. And there is a beautiful way to meditate is to rest inside what you have right now. Like if it's a judgment, you rest inside the judgment and you see it's always the same space. All judgments, all resentments, all thoughts, all ideas. So you don't have enemies in that way of seeing. And it's actually true on an experiential level. You can rest in every experience, and underneath it's not even underneath, is that the judgment itself is emptiness. There is nothing really there. And you can so just to sit, and everything that comes, you just dive into it. It's like not even that, you relax into the fat, into the sensation. Something else comes, you relax into it. Because it's all the same substance. And then you don't have enemies. Nothing is an enemy. You can rest in everything. Everything is the same. So
Yep.
I think it's kind of the term of the word love come up to me. And I think this word has been misused and misunderstood and very messy nowadays to use it. But what Anton just shared to me, that's love. That's this the girl this recognition that everything is me.
Yes. But it's unconditional love. So it includes everything.
I want to say something about the other level of experiencing as well, where things are differentiated, and I mean, it seems to me like that's the meta level. I mean, I'm not saying anything new here, but I don't know if I want to say something like it, honoring or acknowledging that there is a level on which, differentiation makes sense too, Like I think in music, free jazz for me is the meta level where it doesn't matter what the harmony is, what the rhythm is, whether people are, in the same key or anything. It's just all sound. But for me, it's also true that, there's something qualitatively different about a nice tune as well, that works, that I like, that makes sense to me.
Maybe this is where my suffering comes from. Because I put a preference on what is showing up. There is something somehow saying this is not a tune, this jazz music is not a tune, and this other thing out there is a tune, and I want the other thing.
But that's okay, isn't it? I mean, try just only ever listening to free jazz. You're gonna really need a pop song eventually, or a
Yes,
nice
but
Mozart
it's
piece.
all included, all the pop
Yeah.
songs and it's all this. So it's okay to have preferences, but it's
Exactly.
all included. So it's okay.
Yeah, if we look at preferences, it's very interesting. When we say I prefer that to that, what I'm really saying is my experience is more pleasant or less pleasant with this or that. Preference is just the story that we overlay the actual experience. So to say that free jazz and a melodic tune, one is better than the other, that's craziness, isn't it? They're different. That's all. And one that we can feel a certain way with, and another one we'll feel a different way with. And maybe we can say, I prefer to feel that way to that way, but it's just a description of our experience, isn't it? So you don't really have a preference. You're just describing that you feel better with one than the other.
Maybe that's what a preference is.
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah. But there's no such thing as a preference. It's just a story about your experience. bottle me a preference, put it in a bottle and show it to me, put it on the shelf and show me. You can't, can you? All right, let's put you on the operating table and get a scalpel and find the preference in you. It doesn't exist.
But then neither do the sensations, I suppose. So neither does the experience of pleasantness or
Well,
unpleasantness.
we won't use an anesthetic when we cut you with the scalpel, and we'll see if there's a sensation is real or not. Yeah.
But I mean, you know, if you say it's not a preference, it's just an experience of pleasantness. But that I'm saying that also can't be found with a scalpel. They're both just ways of describing the same
Yeah.
thing.
Right. Yeah. You're sure. Yeah. Yeah. But it's a, we do, I think we need to be a little, well, it's good to be aware that one is a description of something and one is something. And so when we talk of a preference, it's just a story about.
But isn't the thing that the preferred experience also just a story about?
Yeah. And it has a place for sure when we're communicating, so on. But when what I've kind of lost what I was trying to say. That if you recognise that you have a reaction to one thing that you like more than a reaction to another thing, to describe it as a preference is fine if you're communicating it. But the problem with imagining that a preference is something that is actual is that you have a reaction to it when you don't experience it.
So what you're saying, it's like a kind of a label, and then you're relating to the label
And
rather
then
than the
you've got
actual.
suffering. That's right. Yeah.
It's a bit more. It's a bit more kind of fluid and actual, isn't it? Like you can say, "Oh, what's my experience when
Yeah.
now I'm hearing this song?" And
Yeah. And so you can say, and I suspect it comes back to something the Buddha said about desire being the root of suffering. If you have a preference, you're in trouble if your preference is not present. You're in trouble. You're suffering.
it's like it has an expectation with it as well, doesn't it? And then like a
Yeah.
you're not allowing yourself to actually notice the experience because you've already decided
Yeah.
I
And
don't
that
like this
preference
before.
invites judgment, another suffering, the second arrow.
Now, when we speak about it, I think that the difference between preferences that not creating suffering and preferences that creating suffering is the idea that you have some kind of control. If you
Yes.
think that you can choose your experience, then you will think that you can act on what is pleasant and what is not. And when you see that you are not doing any of it, you can still have preferences, but you understand that you will not the one to choose your own experience. And then it's okay to have preferences.
Mm.
And if it happens like I like, good. And if not, it can even felt unpleasant on some physical way. But I understand that I am not the one to blame for that. So it's okay.
Yeah, it just is. Yes.
Yes.
I think what can be helpful for perceiving this lack of this illusion of control. Now, the way I'm approaching my experience is, if I take the example of music, right? I go to a concert and I listen music and use jazz. My mind is telling me that there are people out there playing music and I'm sitting here listening to the music, and there's a distance between, the players, the instrument, the space through which the sound travel, and my brain. But now I'm go, okay, that's interesting. In my experience, the sound is immediate and it's appearing right here. So the way I'm trying to, when I'm exploring my experience more and more, it's to really see that I am in constant direct engagement with my experience, whether I like it or not. That's what we're talking about. But the sound that I'm hearing, it's already heard when the mind is making opinions, making players, making space, making time, making choice, making preference. It's already heard. It's already passed in a way, and that makes experience very very when it's very intense. It make it very near. I mean, it's like constantly
Immediate.
here. Yeah, it's immediate. Yeah, which, like you say, Anton, before, like it become very intense. Like everything is heightened because there is less and less boundary. Like I cannot hide my ear. I cannot step out of the room. I mean, it's like this is it, and
Exactly. Yeah.
it can become very intense. The intensity can be high, and that's why sometimes when I hear, yeah, like you are shifting, you are, getting in deeper layers. Some people often it's important, I think, to remind us that can be very intense, can be, and we don't know how it can look like, and it can look
It's
like
true. Yes.
like
Mm.
um, anything.
Many times I had the thought that like someone should speak this, like someone should say how intense it can be actually. Like people like speak of freedom and I will not care about anything and it's all love and it's it can be intense on like levels that I cannot even explain how intense it can be. And yes, on some level, it's all okay, but you have no control, and it can be anything from hell to heaven. And you will not choose, and you have to be okay with that. So, yes, it's freedom, but it's not what you think. Like, it's a different kind of freedom, not a freedom that you can want because you will not have any say on what will happen with you. Nothing. You don't have a say about anything. Everything will just happen to you. But on some level, you see that it's not like when there is still a sense that this is happening to me, it still involves some suffering inside, and it with time it seems like less and less it's happening to me, but it's just happening. And then it can be like with how to say, as much as there is no sense of it's happening to me, the happening is more free to happen as intense as it should, as it have the reservoir of your karma to unfold, all the sensations, all the thoughts, everything. Like it do not feels that, oh, if I will give him all the truth, the relative truth of our lives or all experience, he will collapse. But if there is no one to collapse, it can give you all the experience that you avoided, and sometimes for thousands of years. I don't want to go to spiritual stuff, but yes. But stuff arising that I don't remember from this life, like crazy stuff.
The other thing that came up for me is that it doesn't happen to me. I don't hear music. If music is there, and in the old way we say I am hearing it, the experience is I am the music. I can only hear it if I am it. It just appears that it's coming in and I'm hearing it through my ears, but I'm actually experiencing the music way more than just sound. I'm feeling it. I am it. So if I am it, how can it happen to me? But I'm not talking intellectually. I'm saying the experience is that I am the music. I am what I'm seeing. I am what I'm feeling. That is all I am. All I can be is this experience. But it's irrelevant to say that because unless it's experienced, it can't be understood. But anyway, yes, we get too esoteric with our communication sometimes.
I really liked that what you just said then, Vince. It's a good reminder of that.
Maybe sometimes we hold the idea that we have this stronger. We talk about identification with a me, with a self, and all of this. But I think to many of the big struggle is we feel too small, right? We perceive to like I cannot be everything. It's not possible. It's not me, not me. Maybe the other one, maybe, the prophets and the one that who wrote the books, the one on the screen, my neighbor, but not me. No, I can't. It can't be. So there is something on us that at the same time we are triggered, right? We're like, really? But maybe. There is always the one who listens is the one who knows what Vince said, is the one who recognizes that this is true.
Okay, well, I'm about to run out of battery on my laptop, so it's a good excuse to wind up.
Can I just ask you, Vince, before you go, the Monday morning meeting, is the time changing?
Yeah, 6 a.m. my time. You want me to tell you what time it is for you?
Is that 2 hours earlier than it was?
Yes.
Yeah, 8 then, isn't it?
So my 6 a.m. will be 7 p.m. London time the day before.
Yeah, got it.
All right, okay.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Adios.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.